The film opens as Willy Wonka, an aspiring magician, inventor, and chocolatier, arrives in a new city on a ship. He dreams of opening the biggest chocolate shop in the biggest market in the world. With 12 silver souvenirs, he sets off to sell his creations at a lavish chocolate market named Galleries Gourmet. However, as he walks around the city, he gradually spends most of his money unnecessarily, leaving without a place to stay. That night, Willy sits on a street-side bench, aiming to camp out the night. Suddenly, a large man named Mr. Bleacher arrives and tells him that he will freeze to death outside. The man then reveals that he has a place where Willy can spend the night in comfort. Following this, Bleacher brings Willy to a hotel owned and run by a woman named Mrs. Scrubbit. The two strangers appear friendly and offer Willy gin and a room to sleep. However, Scrubbit informs him that he will have to pay some charges for lodging. The charges appear pretty reasonable, so Willy readily agrees, and Scrubbit brings a contract that he has to sign to stay here. Just as Willy's about to sign, a young girl who works there named Noodle whispers to read the small print before proceeding forward. But the contract is extremely long, and the hotel owner frames it as a mere formality, so the visitor doesn't read it. The next day, Willy goes to the town square to introduce himself to the crowd. There, he presents his chocolate creations, which he calls Hover Chocks, as they're made with a special flying bug. This catches the attention of 3 local chocolate shop owners, Arthur Slugworth, Fickelgruber, and Prodnose, all of whom sample the Hover Chocks. Despite the trio liking the chocolate, they tell Willy that it's the worst chocolate they've ever tried. They then begin to float as the effects of the bug kick in. Unbothered, Willy lets the rest of the crowd buy the chocolate, and everyone begins to fly. Suddenly, a police officer, Affable, arrives at the spot and tells Wonka that he cannot sell his chocolate on the streets, forcing him to leave. When Willy goes back to Scrubbit, she informs him that he needs to pay for everything he's used. The owner presents him with a series of absurdly high bills and forces him to work at the hotel for years to pay it off. Following this, he's thrown down the laundry chute, where he meets other people who were tricked. They are former accountant Abacus Crunch, plumber Piper Benz, telephone operator Lottie Bell, and failed comedian Larry Chucklesworth. Noodle has the highest debt racked up and must work there the longest. Later that night, in his room, Willy learns that Noodle has never tasted chocolate before. So, he reveals how his mother taught him to make chocolate and inspired his creativity. He then utilizes special ingredients such as liquid sunlight and creates a special chocolate with a lightning bolt on it. Curious, Noodle tries it and admits she loves it. However, she gets sad as she knows she will never get to try it again. Willy then begins to hatch an idea for making more chocolate, promising his new friend a lifetime supply. Meanwhile, the chief of police is seen entering a church, where he goes underground with the help of the corrupt priest, Father Julius. There, he meets Slugworth, Fickelgruber, and Prodnose, who are unofficially called the Chocolate Cartel. It is revealed that the cartel considers Willy to be a threat, as they know his chocolate is delicious. On top of that, he's also willing to sell it for cheap, cutting their profits. If the threat is allowed to grow unchecked, their business will soon be in danger. Hence, the 3 villains proceed to bribe the chief with a huge amount of chocolate in exchange for dealing with Willy, even if it involves lethal means. Back at the hotel, Willy and Noodle proceed to create a diversion by tricking Scrubbit into thinking Bleacher is some kind of wealthy aristocrat, while also tricking Bleacher into thinking Scrubbit secretly likes him. Willy also creates a machine using their dog Tiddles to do the laundry faster and more efficiently, allowing the other workers to relax. Next, Willy mentions that he needs giraffe's milk for his next creation. Thus, Noodle accompanies him to a zoo where she had noticed a giraffe earlier. After distracting the guard, Willy manages to sneak inside. He then finds the giraffe and uses special mints to feed it. This hypnotizes the giant beast, and she allows Willy to milk her. While returning from the zoo, Noodle shows him a ring she wears around her neck that appears to have the letter N. It is because of this ring Scrubbit gave her the name Noodle. She then talks about her dream of having a real home and family, and Willy promises to help her find that. However, they're once again confronted by the police officer, who warns Willie not to sell his chocolate in this town. He also shoves his face in water to make himself clear. When the two return home, Willie explains to the other workers what he's doing. Abacus warns him that the chocolate cartel not only controls the chocolate sales in town, but also keeps documents of their shady dealings. Speaking from first-hand experience, he reveals illegal activities like diluting their chocolate and hoarding the excess in a vault. The vault is located underground beneath the church and is guarded by Father Julius and hundreds of chocoholic monks. Despite knowing the risks, the others agree to help their new friend sell his chocolate without interference. Willie starts by using his giraffe milk macaroons to give a man confidence to sweep his girlfriend off her feet. He then sells other delicious products and escapes from the chief by going down the storm drains. But the chief is not one to be fooled so easily. He quickly catches on and orders his men to guard the drains. That night, Willie sets up a trap for a little orange man who has been stealing his chocolates. The trap works, and Willie finds himself meeting a short, strange-looking dwarf named Lofty. He explains that long ago, Willie stole cocoa beans from his homeland, Loompaland, which ruined his life. Because of this, Lofty needs to get back sufficient payment in chocolate so he can return home. Soon after, he tricks Willie by whacking him with a frying pan and steals his chocolate. Elsewhere, the chocolate cartel spies on Willie and sees that Noodle is also involved with him. Slugworth then goes to Scrubbit and Bleacher for a sinister scheme. The following day, Noodle gets Willie the keys to a shop in the town square so that he can sell his creations. He eventually opens it to the public, showcasing a variety of beautiful confectionaries like chocolate candy clouds, edible flowers, and chocolate trees. Initially, the crowd loves everything, but soon they start to find themselves growing hair, which changes colors at an alarming rate. Willie realizes that the chocolate has been poisoned with an ingredient called Yeti sweat and tries to warn everyone. Despite his best efforts, the people turn on Willie and begin to trash his shop. Eventually, the place catches on fire after an angry mother cuts down a chandelier. As Willie sadly sits in the ruins of his shop, he's approached by the chocolate cartel. They offer him enough money to clear his and all of his friends' debts with Scrubbit and Bleacher. However, they apply one condition. He has to leave the town and never make or sell chocolate again. Willie reluctantly agrees and later boards a boat out of town. After a while, Lofty reappears, as he believes Willie's debt to him is unsettled. Suddenly, the chocolatier notices a mark on his hand caused by Slugworth's ring. Surprisingly, the ring appears similar to the one that Noodle wears around her neck, indicating that she and Slugworth are related. Realizing that his dear friend is in danger, Willie decides to abandon the boat and head back. When he tries to tell the captain, he finds that the boat has been rigged with dynamite by the cartel. Fortunately, he and Lofty jump ship before it explodes into smithereens. In the meantime, Scrubbit allows Abacus, Piper, Lottie, and Larry to go free, but she informs Noodle that Slugworth paid her to keep her there forever as a servant. Soon afterwards, Willie joins the other adults, and together they break Noodle free. After this, they plan to break into the chocolate cartel's vault and expose their schemes so that she can be safe. Next, the group gets the giraffe out of the zoo and they bring her to the church to frighten Father Julius and the monks. Taking advantage of the diversion, Willie and Noodle sneak their way underground, only to be found by the cartel. The notorious Slugworth then points a gun at them. It is then revealed that he is actually Noodle's uncle. After her parents' death, he was tasked to take care of Noodle, but the greedy businessman left the poor kid with Scrubbit, telling everyone that she had died. Slugworth created this elaborate plan so that he could inherit the family's chocolate fortune. He then throws Willie and Noodle into their vault in an attempt to drown them in chocolate. But just before the vault completely fills up, Lofty arrives there and rescues them. He does so because he wants Willie to repay his debt in full. In the next scene, as Slugworth, Fickelgruber, and Prodnose make their way out of the church, Willie and Noodle emerge with a ledger that exposes their crimes. Affable takes the book and sees the chief of police's name in it. While the chief is arrested, the cartel attempts to flee, but they find themselves beginning to float again. Willie then explains that earlier he had deliberately given them hover chocks disguised as a payment for Lofty. The magical chocolate had a delayed but strong reaction, making them float like hot air balloons. After this, Willie activates the fountain in the town square, which brings out all the chocolate the cartel had hidden. The locals then proceed to sample the chocolate since it contains Willie's ingredients. In the aftermath, Willie takes out the last bar of chocolate his mother made before she died. It contains a note stating that it is not important how chocolate is made, but who it is made for and shared with. He then shares it with Noodle, Abacus, Piper, Lottie, and Larry. After a few hours, Willie and Lofty go to an abandoned castle where the former plans to start creating more of his signature confections. Although Lofty feels the debt is repaid, he admits that he's not very popular in Loompa Land and is reluctant to go back home. Hearing this, Willie offers him a job in his new chocolate factory, to which Lofty agrees. Soon, Willie establishes what will become his world-famous chocolate factory. During the credits, Lofty explains what happened to the other characters. Abacus, Lottie, Piper, and Larry all returned to their old jobs and reunited with loved ones, while Scrubbit and Bleacher were found out for having contaminated Willie's chocolate. They try to drink the evidence, but it only turns their skin and hair into different colors. The two are then arrested and put behind bars for good.
Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.